Welcome to another edition of webinar series on MBA Rendezvous, which we conduct with academic leaders and industry veterans. And today we have with us Professor Dheeraj Sharma, Director, IIM Rohtak. And we'll be discussing on the topic, Director's Vision Starts Beyond the Triangle of Faculty, Students and Placements. Professor Dheeraj is the Director at the Indian Institute of Management, Rohtak. He is also a professor at the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. So, sir, firstly, Team MBA Rendezvous would like to congratulate IIM Rohtak on receiving the prestigious AMBA accreditation. And, sir, I firmly believe to achieve such accomplishments, the credit goes to the leader and the team. And hence, I would like to understand from you what goes behind the curtains to make such accomplishments possible. Your thoughts, please, sir.
Well, I'm an academic, so I understand the academic environment. I think that's the first and the foremost requirement that goes on behind the curtains is to have an understanding. And when you yourself have an understanding, I think you can percolate that to your team. I was very fortunate that I got a great team, and all of us came to an understanding on the principles around which we will work. And my feeling is that the great institutions are faculty-led, administratively supported, and IT-enabled. So faculty-led, every single decision in our institution which is of importance goes through a full faculty. As a matter of fact, in our institution, even when we are recruiting people, we don't go by the particular department or the area. The candidature is discussed amongst all faculty in a full faculty meeting. So involvement of faculty, the faculty takes the ownership, and the faculty then promulgates that very important function of what we call self-discipline and self-governance. So that, I believe, is what goes on behind the curtain, number one. Second, administratively supported. My job is to provide resources, and I'm only a provider of resources and facilitate people with those resources. And initially when I came, we were very small faculty. I think we had about 10 odd faculty members, 10, 11, and we did not have the necessary resources or possibly the skill set that we were desiring to become an institution of importance. So we sat down at that point in time. I decided that I would devote my Sundays with my faculty and my doctoral students so that we could collaborate and work on important research subjects. It is with great pride that I must share with you that all our graduates in the doctoral program who have graduated till now have all had an A category publication. It's a remarkable accomplishment for all of them. And that then, of course, makes it mandatory for all the faculty to do that as well. So between the team of the senior most people, if I put our senior most people team, including me, if we are about 5 people in that older category, if I may call ourselves older category, in the last 5 years together, we would have produced, I would say, safely 50 A category publications. And so that's the second part, is that administratively supported. We demonstrated that we could do it. We worked with people, coached them, provided resources, both financial as well as other research support staff to produce research outcomes. Finally, IT enabled. I think that's an area where we are still working. We are okay. I mean, we managed. We were the pioneers, as a matter of fact. You should know this, that during the COVID time, because we were so prepared and we took the decision so much in advance, that ours was the only IIM where the classes started nearly on time in the month of June, and we had taken a decision to have online even before many of our other peer institutions had not thought of it. And we finished our year on time, we had our examinations on time, and we had our convocation on time. That basic IT function, but we are really working on it. it's an area where we really need to improve. And I think going forward with all of these three things, we are destined to go further and become even more impactful institution than we are today.
Wonderful, sir. And that brings me to my next question, wherein I would like to go a little deeper before I take a step back. So I would like to understand from you, as a director of the institute, how can a director who is loaded with a lot of accountability can execute his vision of walking an extra mile? This may be probably to win in the newer green pastures. How do you do it, sir?
Well, I must tell you that our Prime Minister was very kind to give autonomy to IIMs. And IIMs have really demonstrated through their autonomy that they can grow and they can make a very strong impact. I'm speaking for all IIMs right now. Just imagine between 1960 and 2014, let's take that as the date, what was the increase in size of the batches across IIMs? It wasn't a really whole lot. There wasn't an exponential increase. But see, post 2000 and I would say post 2010 more so, because that's when the second generation of IIMs came in. And then 2016, when the third generation of IIMs came in. Look at the number of students who have benefited from the education, the highest quality education in management and other programs too. So I would say that the first strength that one derives to get into the uncharted territory is from the traditions of this nation, from the people who have led our nation, our founding fathers, our leadership of the nation. We derive motivation to go into territories which are uncharted. And we have done that in our institution. We were the first IIM to come up with a BBA MBA program. IIM Indore had an integrated program of a BA MBA, and that was an integrated. It culminated into a postgraduate diploma. We were the first ones to come up with a BBA MBA, where there's an exit option of BBA after 3 years, and then you get 2 degrees, BBA plus MBA. This was our goal. We started this almost 4.5, 5 years ago. We are into our graduating batch now. This year, the batch will come out, after 5 years. So just imagine that was the first step. It's a remarkable program which has got remarkable attention. We started our second program, which is the BBA LLB program. No IIM has gotten into this territory. We're getting excellent results. We had to comply with the Bar Council of India norms. We did that. We worked very hard. They inspected our place. We really got a lot of support from a lot of people to build this program. We got a lot of intellectual bandwidth from former judges, former bureaucrats, former individuals who are pursuing the legal careers as senior advocates, who contributed, and we've had great success with second batch. Great. Third, we started a postgraduate diploma in sports management, which is really a remarkable thing for us. Again, this program was appreciated by the Honorable Prime Minister himself in his speech. We've done really well. We've been attracting sports persons from wide variety of areas to come work through this program with us. We get faculty, you'll be surprised, we get faculty from 40 odd countries to run this program, because we really don't have, in India, we don't have a whole lot of faculty which teaches courses on kinetics, on kinesiology, on managing heritage sports museums, and so on and so forth. So we really had to source. It's been a remarkable journey for us in that program as well. So where do you get this? Where do you get the strength to do this? Is of course, I was lucky that I was afforded the opportunity to lead an IIM at an early age. I think I had the physical strength, and I think because this is not the end of life for me, I've got more things to do in life. So I want to do my best. And that's what keeps me going. I think our founding fathers of this nation, the leadership of this nation today leads the way. I mean, we know that all these people, starting from our founding fathers, Mahatma Gandhi, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, Lal Bahadur Shastri, to today, where we have our Prime Minister, our National Security Advisor. They work 15, 16, 17 hours. Oftentimes when I'm really tired and exhausted, I was just sharing with my faculty that I did not get a single break during this weekend. I was totally occupied, no break. But then, you look at these individuals and you're motivated and you want to do something. My goal is to provide the highest number of students with the highest quality of education. I don't want the IIM education to be restricted to a handful of people. That's not the view that I take. It's an education for only a selected lot. We have now the financial resources. We have built them up now. And now we are offering scholarships. This is the first year we are giving merit-based scholarships to, I think we would be giving merit-based scholarships to, I think about 40, 50 students, which is a large number for us, and in lakhs of rupees, because we built that. Going forward, we are going to be seeking funding from corporate houses to give scholarships to our students. And I can tell you for sure, with greatest of conviction, that when we build our campus in Gurgaon, which is in the heart of Gurgaon, we have really a large piece of land. Government of Haryana was kind enough to give us that large piece of land. It'll be an iconic campus, point number one. It'll be a campus that'll be doing non-residential education. And I commit to you, you're recording this program, so you can take my commitment. We'll be the first IIM, or forget about any IIM, we'll be the first management institution. We'll have about 3,000, 3,500 students within a span of next 3 years. So this is not an institution which will be not affording opportunities. People are yearning for opportunities to go to better schools, and ours will be the first time to offer that opportunities to those students.
That's so interesting, sir. I am really looking forward to that. That brings me to my next question, please. And who would be a better person to understand this, right? So I would really like to understand from your lens, from your chair, sir, how do you look at the future of MBA? When we are speaking about the new school also coming up, and when we are speaking about providing scholarships, when we are speaking about the new age courses and sports management, how do you really look at the future of management?
I think this nation requires as much management as we can. We are a country of 1.4 billion people. We are the fourth largest economy in the world. Last quarter, India's growth rate was around 13.5%. Many people quote that as 13.5%. This country is built on the ingenuity and industriousness of our people, the citizens of this nation. They work very hard. But what you need is the hard work has to be coupled with efficiency, effectiveness, judicious use of resources. So how do you do that? Can we be unscrupulous and non-judicious in utilization of the bounties of nature? No, we cannot. We cannot consume the energy at the same level as the United States does, which probably holds still about 30-35% of the world energy is consumed by one country. We can't be like Europe, which is relying on the resources, in the words of Jacques Chirac, on the resources coming from Africa to become rich and to comfort their citizens. We are a civilization which the recorded history declares about 10 to 12,000. Rakhi Gadi says 10 to 12,000 years old, recorded. I mean, if we go by our Vedic, we go lakhs of years, but 10 to 12,000. This is a wise civilization. Only thing that we require is to channel, coach, and direct our resources. And that's where management expertise comes in. There will be the highest possible requirement of management professionals going forward in the next 20 years. And I can tell you for sure that management professionals will come out of the IIM systems, will be leading the way. They'll be the leaders who will be heading organizations and taking them in the direction which we have now chosen is to be sustainable, with having minimal carbon footprint and making our citizens healthy and educated, wise, while being respectful, disciplined, and caring of people around us and the nature around us.
Wonderful. So looking forward to it, sir. Sir, I would now like to take a tangential path and understand your views of the relationship between industry and academia. So, as per my thoughts, leaving aside the top institutes of the nation, if we go down deeper, there is a lot of rebalance that needs to happen between the industry academia relationship. The synergy is not there, the synchronization is missing. How do you look at it? What are your advice and views on that?
I think you're absolutely right. I think this is a developmental area for the education sector. I believe that we need to have a very progressive view of education and also the applicability of that education in the industry. Now, you see, on one hand, there is a stream of literature which talks about educatedness, which talks about higher order cognition, which means educatedness is where people are able to perceive things better, are able to conduct themselves better. On the other hand, there are people who 180 degree who say education is something that they could apply in their workplace almost immediately. Now, a balance has to be struck between both. I believe that universities particularly need to have a stronger interaction and entrenchment with the industry. We have, I can tell you from my experience of doing a lot of work with Government of Haryana and Government of India, that in the domain of skills, in the domain of educated people, we are really, really struggling. There are jobs which are open, which require a particular type of individual with certain qualifications, with certain skill set, and we're not finding those people. We are finding people gradually who are either not up to it or are not interested. So I believe that's where the role of the larger education entities or the organizations which regulate some of this comes in, is that they create a stronger interface and make these people, I think, attitudes. We really haven't really worked on the attitudes of the people. Today we have a large portion of workforce which is disgruntled for no reason and is dissatisfied for no reason. I mean, then you really need to understand that there's work, and oftentimes the work can take any shape and form, and you got to adapt and adjust. I think going forward, I would say that this interface, not just between industry and academia, but society, industry, and academia, this triangle has to happen, and that's really not happening in a big way. It should happen.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Sir, I would now like to take a question which has come from the student side and take your perspective on that, right? So traditionally, what has happened is the major factor for an MBA aspirant in choosing his business school has been the placement. And if I put it in their words, they call it ROI. I would like to understand from you, right, as a director of IIM Rohtak, what is your advice to the students? Is this a right mechanism to do it, or they should look at it more holistically? Your views, please.
Well, it's not their fault, actually. All of us are looking for cues. All of us make decisions based on a very reductionist approach. When we are purchasing a car, we don't go through the engineering that goes on behind the car. We look at how many cc's, how much mileage, 1 or 2. When we are purchasing a laptop, we do the same thing. We look at the processor speed, i3, i5, i7, or the size of the storage, and so on and so forth. So there's nothing wrong with the students in using these cues and trying to determine 1 or 2 criteria to choose educational institutions. But I must tell you that IIM Rohtak is not a placement agency. We're an educational institution. Students come here, learn through their instructors, learn through the peers, and learn through the environment and do self-learning. all four types of learnings take place, which means learning from the instructional material, instructors, learning from the peers, learning from the environment in general, when people come here, the guest speakers come in, and learning themselves, introspecting. This learning results in a good resource, a good human resource, which is appreciated by the industry so far. And the industry has been recognizing that and have been taking our students. Our students are placed in some of the best companies, and we succeed in completing our placement every single year. There are students who do exceedingly well, who earn lakhs and lakhs of rupees, but then there are students who earn less. What we've thought of it, I think the average is, I don't have the document with me, but I think the average would be around 16, 17, 15, 16, something around that in our institution, which in my view is somewhat equal to the fee that they pay in 2 years' time. I don't know whether that is a right measure of, because we are not a skilling agency, we are an education. This education will go a long way in determining a student's choices, in allowing the student to form a view of society, form a view of industry, form a view of life. So therefore, I don't know, should we be getting into this ROI mode? I have no idea, but you know, we all do. We all take cues, we all go by rankings, we all go by, I mean, frankly speaking, I have never understood the concept of ranking, but again, it's every person has limited cognitive faculties, limited cognitive resources, and you want to take cues and make the expeditious decision, and that's how it works. So, but I again reiterate that IIM Rohtak is not a placement agency. We are an educational institution where students come to learn, and their learnings are appreciated by the industry, and that's how they succeed.
Very well said, sir. Very well said. So now, sir, I would like to understand from you personally, from that chair, the leader's chair, right? So what is an ideal day plan for a director? How much of your work involves, working with your team, and what percentage is broken into undisturbed, focused thinking? How do you manage this?
Well, I am at the expense of sounding presumptuous. I don't know what other people do, so I can only speak for myself. I work a lot. I mean, I work maybe between 80 to 100 hours a week. So I don't believe in the concept of, I enjoy my work. I don't believe in the concept of work-family balance. I believe in the concept of work-family integration. So my day starts very, very early. We have to look at the dark, and we have to look at the mail. And my staff and I, we sit down and clear out. There are administrative decisions which have to be taken, which are organized around the day. Every single day, I also serve on a number of committees within and outside the institution. And therefore, I have to devote time to that. I'm on certain boards, I have to devote time to that. And what I always try to do, which I try to do at least, I would say, 4 to 5 times a week, is I read. And my reading time is late at night. I sleep very late. I try to get my 6 hours, 6.5 hours, although my family keeps complaining. They say that I should get at least 7.5, 8 hours. But I'm a light sleeper. I don't get good sleep, and so I read at least, I would say, about 10 hours a week, and I do play badminton. I'm a very good badminton player. I think I'm a very good badminton player. I play badminton about 3 days a week. Play for about 45 minutes each time, to an hour sometimes. And it's great to keep yourself occupied. And I am leading so many important research projects for industry, for the government, that I must tell you, it's a joy. It's literally a joy, because these projects will result in influence on the lives of lakhs of people. small recommendations from my institution, my report, report of our team can make significant difference in the lives of lakhs of people. So, for instance, during the COVID time, we could have just sat down and the second wave, but we took a view. Government of Haryana was kind enough to support us. We did the oxygen audit for the state of Haryana. Our team physically visited more than 10 locations, hospitals, and took advantage of the data there, gave inputs which resulted in savings of oxygen, saving of lives. These are incredible things, and so much of learning. So therefore, I believe, from my own standpoint, that it's a great thing. You can either have a balance or you can have integration. I go for the integration. I enjoy what I do. I really enjoy what I do. And so I don't really even feel that I'm working half the times.
So the mantra there is work-family integration. Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. So this brings me to my last question for this podcast. And sir, all businesses, institutions, including ours and yours, have access to resources which are at times limited. So how do you manage between limitation of resources and thus prioritize the initiatives? What rides the priorities? Your views, please.
Well, first of all, I don't believe that we have limited resources. I believe that we have abundant resources. I think it's just understanding and really understanding what resources you need. I think most of us try to gather resources without even applying our mind as to what resources we need actually to make things function. So it's like a bank form to open an account. I mean, where they ask you 400 questions. I don't know how much of that is relevant. I mean, how much of those questions are overlapping and how much of them are redundant. So first that. Second, I think in terms of priority in my institution, the first and foremost priority for me is that our students' learnings should not be compromised. We have worked very hard. Oftentimes, I have been called that I'm too demanding on my faculty, but I tell them that these students come to our classrooms and they have really taken a call. It's not just financial resources. They are giving 2 years of their life to us. So the learnings, that's the priority. So any resource which is required for augmenting the student learnings is my first priority. Any resource which is required for augmenting the research output is my second priority. And others just, sort of go along the way. But I think we take very seriously in terms of the learning outcomes for our students. We actually monitor, I must tell you, we monitor our faculty performance in the classroom. We monitor our students' learnings periodically. We monitor our students' academic journey. We've just started a new project where we are monitoring their academic journey. We will document their academic journey of 2 years, each student. And so these are all very, very important. These are the priority areas. Going forward, I think the next priority area for us would be to set up the Gurgaon campus, have non-residential programs, increase our footprint in the National Capital Region. We are the only IIM in the National Capital Region, by the way. Right. IIM Rohtak itself is in National Capital Region. Gurgaon definitely is in National Capital Region. So we are going to be increasing our footprint through that. We want to become a very large IIM offering diverse courses at various levels. And after that, I think, I don't know how things will look after 3 years, but I think our next agenda would be to have a campus outside our country, maybe in the neighborhood, and maybe get some of our of the non-resident Indians, the diaspora who are yearning for high quality education, give them an opportunity. I think that would be the next priority.
Wonderful, sir. And indeed, this session will be an eye-opener for a lot of people. With this note, we come to the end of this webinar. Thank you so much for taking your time and speaking to us today and sharing your valuable thoughts. We wish you good health and more success. Thank you and stay safe.
Namaste. Jai Hind.